Welcome back to the Wild Ones podcast, a show where we chat about bike stuff. I'm Jimmy, and this week I'm joined by the wonderful producer Emily.
Hello.
And Francis Cade.
Hey guys. Thanks for the intro, Jimmy.
And today's episode is supported by our friends at Garmin. So thank you to them for helping us to continue making shows like this for you for free.
How are you guys?
I'm actually really good this week. And I think it's down to the sun coming out. It's kind of that time of the year where nights are getting a little bit lighter. There's a little bit more sun in the sky. It's a little bit warmer, and it's just improved my mood so much.
Oh, it's so much better, isn't it? I don't have to heat my house at the moment. I just open the blinds.
Yeah.
It has been wonderful.
What have you been up to?
You probably won't like this.
What?
I have finally got around to creating a Cade eBay store, which means I'm going to sell most of your possessions.
That's fine.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, excellent.
I've decided I'm a minimalist.
I was going to break this to you live on the podcast, and I thought you were going to be upset about it. So that's gone down quite well.
No, that's fine.
I actually started with one of the old Scott bikes that we have been sitting on for a while. It's a frame set, Scott Addict RC Pro, and it's gone up. It's started at 99p. I think that's what we're going to do for most, if not all of the stuff. Clear out stuff is started all at 99p, and whatever it goes for, it goes for.
That's crazy. Is that not quite high risk?
Yeah, but
high risk, high reward.
Well, I think it's stuff that we've got clogging up space that gets in the way, that we sometimes just need to get rid of stuff, and it'll all help us to keep making videos. So it's a good method for us getting bike things to the people that want them at whatever price it ends up going for. And if we end up selling stuff way under value, then that's fine. It all helps us keep making videos.
At least it means we can buy things like the Specialized Alley that we bought recently.
Yeah.
Which is still £1,000, which is a lot of money.
It is.
So we can, hopefully the Scott goes for more than £1,000.
Well, amazingly, it's currently on, I guess I can't even say because it'll potentially be different by the time the podcast goes live, but it's currently on about £800, which I was really surprised at. So yeah, mega happy with that. And I guess I'm selflessly promoting the Cade store to everyone that is watching and listening. So if you do want to get some stuff, the Cade store is probably going to have a couple of items on it every couple of weeks that are things that we want to clear some space of. So if you want to get involved in that, then do so. The store is called, what did I call it? Cade-Studio-Clear Out. And I'll make sure Emily puts a link to it in the description.
Yeah, when I put that into Google, nothing comes up relating to us. So maybe need to work on our SEO. Also, did you say you're doing it selflessly?
Shamelessly.
Shamelessly
is what you mean.
Shamelessly promoting
Gosh,
it.
you're so altruistic, Jimmy.
Give me a break. I was unconscious yesterday.
Okay, fine. Yeah, I will put a link in the description.
That's going to be like, what? That was weird. We'll cover that later.
Yeah, okay. Shall we get into some news?
Yeah, the big headline this week is this deja vu. Bike sales are the worst they've been in 50 years. 2023 previously held the record as the worst sales period in this century, and now new figures show last year was even worse again. Interestingly, high-end bikes and mountain bikes are bucking the trend and have gone up since last year. Meanwhile, bike brand Giant says its profits plummeted by 60% last year, although sales were only down 7.4%. They blamed heavy discounting and inventory challenges. This literally sounds like the same as what we were hearing last year. Doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. An interesting last year's headline said, this is the worst we've seen in a century, but 2024 is predicted to be better. And then this year we're seeing 2024 has been the worst ever, but we predict 2025 to be better. So who knows?
Interesting. It verifies what we were having a chat with one of the guys from Pinarello, weren't we? Who was saying the high-end bike sales, that's what they're selling the most of. So I guess people with more money are just unaffected, whereas people who would normally be buying the more entry-level bikes, why would you buy another one? There's no reason to, is there?
I think the interesting thing here, though, is this is businesses that we're talking about. There's still plenty of bikes. There's still plenty of parts. There's no issues with being able to get hold of bikes and bike parts. And therefore, from a consumer perspective, who cares?
People work for those businesses. It's sad for them.
There's a lot more people riding bikes than
there is
people that
working for bike brands.
Yes, a hell of a lot more people.
That is true.
But there's nothing to suggest that those people that work for the brands aren't also doing fine.
Mm-hmm.
The point is, this headline is about corporate returns rather than are people actually using bikes. There probably are less people using bikes, but there's still a lot of people using bikes, and there's still people riding, and that has probably changed significantly less than the amount of people that are spending money on bikes.
You can only speak anecdotally. Going outside, there's a lot of people riding bikes still. Like, the clubs are out. This morning there was a big group of cyclists I saw.
Mm-hmm. And cool. I'm sure if you're in cities that are bustling with bike commuters, such as London or the Netherlands, there are probably as many bikes out as there has been for many years.
Mm-hmm.
It does feel a little bit like the industry has lost its way a bit. It kind of feels like they're following the model of car manufacturers, that there's this constant supply of new technology and constant supply of new bikes, and are almost expecting people to buy a brand new fancy road bike every couple of years or every season. And it just is unnecessary. I don't think that that's how most people are actually spending their money on bikes. I think they probably spend more money maintaining their bike over the case of a decade rather than buying a new one every couple of years. And of course, there are some people which are constantly buying new bikes, but they represent such a tiny proportion of people. So I think this as a statistic is unfairly representing cyclists and people that are riding bikes.
That's not new though?
Well, no, of course it's not new, but it does feel way more extreme than it did 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And that is also the same thing as with cars. The technology is leading whether people should be buying something. And I would challenge that a lot of the technology that we are being presented, not just in cycling, but in lots of aspects of our life, actually doesn't add any value and is ultimately a method for justifying whether someone should buy something new or not.
I still think there's so much focus on performance and bikes being sold to consumers that are essentially what they are, professional level racing products. It's like F1 cars.
Yeah.
And okay, it's going to suit some people, and they can exist and they should exist and they should be available to purchase, but there's just a big difference in the amount of marketing that goes on to the bikes that would actually suit most people.
It ends up being trickled down race tech rather than stuff that would service consumers more.
Even the trickle down is okay. It's just the lack of they fail to make the more appropriate bikes interesting and exciting and sexy, and they just focus on the really high end stuff too much.
The concerning thing here is commercially what this is telling bike brands is don't bother selling entry-level bikes. And that is what we are seeing start to happen. Yeah. And it is very, very, very concerning. It's like, if we do use a car analogy, it's like all car manufacturers just selling Ferraris or the slightly tier down from a Ferrari and going, right, yeah, well, that's normal. Go drive a Ferrari to the shops. And you're like, well, what? Are you
I find it with... we do these first look videos, but a partial review, partial showcase of a bike, and it makes my life easier when I can use some footage from the manufacturers sometimes, and I'll quote where the footage is from. Like if there's a YouTube video about a new Scott Addict or something like that, great, I can rip some of that footage, and they've got some exploded bike diagram, not exploded, but exploded, and you can see the bike from their perspective. In all of the in all of the mid-price bikes even, there is no video. There's nothing. Specialized did it with the Alley. That's unusual.
Yeah.
And a lot of them just have nothing. So don't shout about them. It's a shame.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that are actually being bought.
And it
or
feels
would be being
like...
bought. Or apparently they're not being bought, so maybe I'm wrong.
It feels like we're going to see less and less of this as well, which I think is massively concerning.
Yeah, totally. Do you know what? A listener wrote in last week and said something like, I like that you guys make me feel better about the stuff I've got and don't shout about always needing new and the latest and greatest and most expensive stuff. And clearly, what's on consumers' minds right now is not buying bikes. But that doesn't mean it's not riding bikes. There's still, the fact that we are still going means that there's a lot of interest in this as a hobby, but maybe not so much buying stuff. So I like the fact that we seem to be getting across that you don't need to be buying stuff to be involved in the chat. And that doesn't mean, we won't do the first looks. I almost see the first looks as a bit like window shopping. You want to know what's there. It doesn't mean you're going to buy it. And I hope that we're not saying that you have to buy it, or it's just something to look at, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like I know I'm never going to own a Ferrari, but that's not going to stop me if one goes past me going, oh yeah.
I do it on YouTube looking at like the latest graphics cards. This is so sad. And it's like a £2,000 graphics card. I'm never buying that. But I still watch a 15-minute video about it. Like, what? But it's people want to see the shiny stuff.
Totally. But you do not have to buy the shiny stuff.
And we're very lucky to ride the shiny stuff. Like, it is fun. Like, it's amazing that we get to do it. So that is a privileged position to be in.
Meanwhile, the UK's governing body, British Cycling, has revealed a new 4-year strategy to get more people riding bikes. So why are some campaigners not happy about it? Well, the good news is BC wants to tackle barriers that prevent people from riding bikes. And as we know, a big barrier to entry is lower income communities getting access to bikes. So essentially, they've come up with a number of initiatives to get more kids from disadvantaged backgrounds cycling, and I think we would all agree that is a good thing, right?
Well, yeah, of course. It's one of the main reasons that I joined Recycle Your Bike as a trustee, and that is exactly what they are doing. They are trying to get bikes into the hands of people that wouldn't ordinarily be able to just go out and buy bikes, because there is a thing called transport poverty, and it is hard and expensive to get around, and a bike is a very cost-effective way of doing that. So it is very, very important, and there are plenty of charities out there that are already doing that, which is amazing.
So the reason it's got some pushback is that road safety campaigners feel that it's glossed over the biggest barrier to growing cycling in the UK, and it will be the same in lots of other countries too. The fact that people don't feel safe on the roads. So speaking to Road CC, Dr. Robert Davis from the Road Danger Reduction Forum said that they've failed to tackle the dangers presented to actual and potential cyclists. He thinks that they should also be campaigning for road infrastructure that reduces danger from motor traffic, better road policing and deterrent sentencing, and calling out anti-cycling prejudice as the dangerous bigotry that it is.
Well said.
Yeah, so I'm going to throw it over to you guys. Does this feel like a misstep for BC, or are we just being typical Brits complaining rather than appreciating the good that they're doing?
It's nice to see that they are doing something. I, as a whole, feel like we need to be campaigning for better infrastructure. And the biggest challenge that I think we face is there is lots of money being spent on infrastructure, but nearly all of it is insufficient and actually makes it worse for cyclists and pedestrians than it not being there in the first place.
Is this like the weird cycle lanes you've got on your commute back?
Yes.
Which we experience, which creates problems for us.
It does. It literally makes it less safe. I'm not going to go into massive detail about that because it's boring, but if anyone wants to know more, ask me about it. The thing is, what I have been trying to do for probably a couple of years is get into the conversations that the councils local to us in the Northeast are having. There is a recently elected mayor for the Northeast, Kim McGuinness. She represents all of the boroughs in the Northeast, and they have a big pot of money for infrastructure, but they just don't seem to be consulting people that actually understand it and actually use it. And that isn't just from a cycling perspective. That's also running. That's also walking. That's also people in wheelchairs, which are completely not considered in the slightest in the Northeast. And this is absolutely across the country. So there is money available for good infrastructure, but no one is spending it correctly. And there needs to be more people given the opportunity to be part of this. And this is a great space for an organisation as significant as British Cycling, with the coffers and the amount of money that they have to force themselves and force the right people into those conversations. I would love to see them do it, and lots of other organisations. And if anyone is listening to this that goes, well, what are you doing? I will give any amount of time available to organisations, official government organisations, councils, communities, anywhere in the United Kingdom to help them create better infrastructure. I'm fully committed to being involved in those conversations. Sorry, I went a bit ranty, didn't I?
Jimmi for president.
Like with your face on. I can see why they get it so wrong. It is difficult. Not that I'm defending them, but they need to consult experts or at least people that ride bikes.
Presumably that is happening though, because that's obvious, isn't it?
It doesn't. They don't ask the right people. And then they end up with weird situations like Jimmy. He doesn't want to talk about it, but it's like putting a big separate cycle lane that just goes across loads of road. So you have to stop every 2 seconds and then it's easier to just ride on the road. And then their cars get angry at you for riding on the road. Is that all the time?
And around bus stops and past schools, which are set up for children to walk in and out of.
Oh, you mean the behind the bus stop thing?
Yeah.
Oh, they do that in London
and
sometimes.
that's been
weird.
proven to be a complete waste of money.
It's an actual mess. It's more dangerous.
The problem is it then when you don't use them and they exist, it then exacerbates the aggression with cars as well, because they say that's there for you to use. Why aren't you using it? It's a difficult conversation. But the interesting one as well is the calling out anti-cycling prejudice as the dangerous bigotry it is.
It's not taken seriously by people.
Do you know what they need to do? They need to consult the people who do the marketing for vegetarianism because, right? So like my mum has been a vegetarian for 40 years. Stay with me, I've got a point. 40 years ago, you were a weirdo, right? If you were a veggie. Whereas vegans came along and then all of a sudden I feel like all of the hate switched to them. They were the weirdos. They were the outliers. And it has since made life as a veggie much more tolerable, I think.
So we need like unicyclists or something.
Yeah, exactly. Can we put someone, I'm being in jest. I support the vegans as well.
It's probably not the solution, is it?
It's probably not the solution.
We'll work on that idea.
Yeah.
Build on that.
So Cycling Scotland did some research and they found that 2/3 of people consider it to be unsafe to ride a bike on a road. And you ask anyone that you know, whether they're a cyclist or not. So if you anecdotally asked your friends, your family, your colleagues, someone that you work with that doesn't ride a bike, do you think it is safe to ride a bike? The chances are they are going to say no. And it's just shameful, really, isn't it? And it shouldn't be that. And it really upsets me that I can't just jump on a bike, ride it somewhere and not be concerned about, oh, actually, I shouldn't ride on that road because I'll probably get hit by a car. Or I shouldn't ride on that road because someone's going to go past me so fast that it will just be unpleasant and horrible. Even if they don't kill me, it's just still not pleasant. And
you're speaking as an experienced cyclist.
Yeah, and if you apply it to people that aren't cyclists all the time, and you go, right, I'm going to give you a £10,000 bike for free with all of the kit, all of the shebang, I'll maintain it for the rest of your life. And you go, but you've got to use that to get to work. They're still going to say no because they're going to go, well, it's not safe. Why would I do that?
I've got two commute options, off-road and on-road. And the off-road one is slower, nicer. There's no cars. But my stuff gets covered in because it is mud the whole way. And I still opt for it, even though it's way less convenient. And I know what I'm doing on the road. I can ride safely, but it's just that mental block of like, I just don't want to deal with that this morning.
What I really want to do is to get some of these decision makers on a bike on certain sections of road that I know are hideous 100% of the time, make them ride it. I'll ride it with them and go, right, okay, what do you think of this now? What do you think of the infrastructure that's already in place? What do you think of this bit of road that doesn't have infrastructure? Do you think we should be doing more? Would you ride this road yourself? And the answer is going to be, well, they'll say yes because they're politicians, but they wouldn't.
Yeah, I'm sure I feel like I was reading some research that was basically saying, in the media it's portrayed that just we as a society just love our cars and we just can't get away from it. And it's actually, we'd never consider being cyclists and they're very other. And that's very polarizing, but I don't actually think it represents most people. So they did a poll and found that a lot of car drivers would be open to doing more of their commutes or their errands or whatever by bike. People aren't sucked to their cars because they love cars. They're sucked to their cars because of convenience, but also it's road convenience, isn't it? It is inconvenient to ride a bike on a road because of the way it's set up. So you're always going to default to a more safe, convenient option. So make cycling the safe, convenient option.
100%.
And you're more likely to sway people.
Yep. And let's not get into the benefit to the National Health Service of fitter, healthier people because they're getting around by bikes, and the reduction in pollution.
Yeah. And obviously we've made this quite UK centric, but I think that this is probably something that will resonate with people beyond this country too.
Oh yeah, totally.
100%.
Yeah.
Americans know. I've seen lots of people upset about the social tax, which is car ownership as well.
Yeah.
Which is you basically have to have a car in a lot of places. And it's unfair.
Someone, and I will name drop them later because I don't know where the email is, but I read it a couple of weeks ago, was talking about 15-minute cities, yes, and sent me a link to a YouTube video of a place in the Netherlands that is a 15-minute city, and it is incredible. Like, I thought I knew about them, but it is really good. I'll find who it is, and I will name drop them, and I will put a link at the end of the podcast if anyone wants to watch it, because it's so interesting. And the thing that got me, because I always think, well, there must be something about Dutch people that they're just more willing to accept it. Maybe the weather's better, or maybe they're just more into their cycling. But actually, the weather's exactly the same as it is here.
Worse.
And actually, before the city structure was set up, most people were using cars. So it is a perfect example of you set up the right infrastructure.
Have you seen before and
people do
after
it.
photos of some of Amsterdam?
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's crazy.
And if anyone wants to say, oh yeah, but it's flat, Amsterdam has the worst headwind in the entire world. And what we know about headwinds...
Every direction.
Headwind is a mountain. So there's no case for them actually having a flat city.
His name is Ben, the 15-minute city man.
That's his name, the 15... He's actually known as
No,
Ben,
no.
the 15-minute city man.
15-minute cityman is his surname.
He's a transport planner. And he's called Ben, and he sent me a thing about 15-minute cities, and I will link it in the description because it's an interesting YouTube video. Thanks, Ben. Okay, next up, a new section for us. You can find advice online about pretty much anything these days, and cycling is no exception. But that doesn't always mean it's good advice. So this week, I thought it would be fun to troll some popular Facebook groups, Reddit threads, and news websites for cycling advice so that we could rate it brutally. You may remember our brutal rating system from a previous episode. I have reinstated it. At the very top, we have God tier, where you can rate the very best pieces of advice. The next category down is solid, followed by it's complicated, then no thanks, and at the very bottom, get in the bin. So I'm going to read out the advice. The caveat, as always with these things, is it's just our opinion. This is just a bit of fun.
It's facts.
Just a bit of fun, guys. Don't get too upset. You can get upset if you want, but we're just going to have some fun with it.
Yeah, cool. Okay, the advice. This is all advice that I have read from the internet. Number 1, it's not worth going lower than a 105 group set. You'll just end up upgrading anyway.
Nah. Bin.
Yeah, it is in the bin.
105 is now 12-speed wireless hydraulic. You don't need that.
Well, it's not just wireless, but there's presumably a mechanical
There is a
version, isn't
mechanical.
there?
Yeah, there is.
It's. I think the trickle down on group sets has happened. We rode the new Claris.
It's old Claris.
hydraulic.
It's been out for a bit.
Is it old?
No, Tiagra hydraulic.
Oh, it's Tiagra hydraulic.
Yeah.
The Tiagra hydraulic.
That's brilliant,
It's
isn't it?
basically like Ultegra Durace from like 10 years ago or something or other. It's absolutely fantastic. It's like properly good.
I was chatting to, it depends on the type of ride you do, of course. I was with Jake Thorpe, the guy who cycled most of the world. And he was like, he wishes he could downgrade his group set. Next time he'd buy a group set, he wouldn't be going for 10-speed 1x Force, which I think he has ridden. He got it secondhand, has ridden it the whole time he's been exploring, adventuring. And he's like, I wish I could go for 9-speed. 9-speed mechanical. Barely have to lube your chain. There's enough gear range. The gaps in the gears, fine. It's kind of true.
Yep.
It's interesting.
Don't need anything more.
Yeah.
We actually have an opinion that if you are upgrading stuff, the group set is going to be one of, if not the last thing that you faff about with.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there's scenarios where that isn't perhaps true, but in most, it is.
And yes, if you're going for your fastest ever time, then whatever.
So it's going in the bin.
Yeah, I'd put that in the bin.
Nice. Okay, strong start. Brutal. Next piece of advice. If you want to get faster, you need a coach.
Bin. I don't know. Without upsetting all of our friends who are coaches, they are not a necessity to get faster.
I see. I'm going to take a different stance on this, and I think it's more about how you define
Coaching.
faster.
Oh, faster.
So, if you're talking about faster because you are a junior athlete that is legitimately trying to become a semi or actual professional athlete, then you probably are going to benefit from a coach. I think probably a lot of club riders would benefit from coaching, not necessarily a coach for fitness, but things like how to ride in a group safely. I think coaches do have a place, but I don't think for most people they need a coach to be faster, and I'd probably challenge them why they even need to be faster in the first place.
It's the word need, which is
Yeah.
not quite right in that statement.
So where are we putting it?
We can go different places, or does it have to be defined? No, it needs to be...
I would like it to be defined so I can do a little graphic where it's on a... So if you said it's complicated...
It's
and
got
you
to be
said
a
get in the bin,
complicated. No, it is a complicated.
It's
Thinking
complicated.
about it more, because you're right. In the example of junior who wants to get faster, the net result of having a coach, which is not like, okay, he'll give you some training plans, but really they will give you some training plans. It's more having someone to talk to when things aren't going right and keeping your head screwed on and helping that process and just making sure you don't go crazy, because it's probably going to take you a few years to get good.
I also learnt a hell of a lot from having a coach when I did. That was then I was able to apply for lots of things afterwards. But that was at a point where I basically said to myself, I am going to train like a professional athlete and see what happens. I was just really curious to see how strong I could get. And as a result of that, I got a coach and I had a good experience of it and I got really fast. Because that was what I was specifically trying to do. That I was trying to see is how far I could get into the elite space. What I learned is I can't. But what I learned from it is that I couldn't. And that was actually a good thing for me. But I think for people that just are thinking, right, I just want to be faster than my mates on the group ride, or I want to keep up with the group ride, I would probably say there are lots of other things that you can do. There's so many generic training plans these days that will get you faster. And most of the time, actually, all you need is just better consistency. And actually, Coach Pete, which we have had on the podcast, Pete Hawkins, that was actually one of the things that he said that I took away of and helped me get back into being more consistent on the bike, is just getting that consistency throughout a week after week after week, obviously making sure you have sufficient rest. It does make a huge difference to getting faster if that's what's important to you. Do you need a coach? No. Will some people benefit from a coach? Yes. If you're thinking about getting faster, is that the starting point? Absolutely not. So I think for me it's complicated, but most people don't need a coach.
Fair enough.
Agreed.
Okay, next one.
I'm in a right ranty mood today,
Yeah,
aren't I?
you are. I love it.
It's the opposite. I thought you were going to go with the coach thing. He's paid by a big coach.
Right, okay. Avoid using your front brake. It'll send you over the handlebars.
So this is a no thanks for me.
I mean,
I've definitely heard that.
in some situations it will.
Yeah.
If you squeeze it really hard when you're going down a hill.
I've taken that to heart and I barely ever use my front brake.
So if you are new to cycling, it as a piece of information is probably useful.
Yeah.
However, the power of your front brake is significantly more than the power of your back brake. And therefore, if you are an experienced cyclist or if you ride lots, you want to learn how to modulate your brakes, which effectively means not just being on or off, having different degrees with which you pull your brakes. And what you will learn over time is that your front brake is how you stop the fastest.
Especially if you're going in a straight line, much safer. If you're going around a corner, touch your front brake.
You going down.
Well, you're not going down. You're more like you're not going around a corner anymore. It will straighten you out.
Yeah.
So it's brake before.
If it's wet/slippery, then that's when the front brake potentially becomes
Yeah.
more
Whereas
problematic.
if you're going around a corner, you can drag your back brake without any issues. You should have done your braking before the corner.
So there is actually a really good article on this. So some of the old school listening to this will have heard of Sheldon Brown before. Sheldon Brown was like a legend of like old school cycling. I think it was maybe in the noughties. He basically built a website which is like cycling encyclopedia. And he has a whole article on braking and how brakes work and effective braking. So that is actually a really, really good thing. And I don't know why, but I ended up reading this article many, many, many years ago. And that was what made me realize, oh, actually the front brake is really, really important. But the important thing is you don't just smash it on, especially now there are so many more disc brakes, which are unbelievably fantastic. But interesting, I was actually riding my bike on Sunday, a couple of days ago, and it was greasy road tyres on a greasy bit of tarmac. And I absolutely hooned on my back brake. Well, I was actually just trying to scrub some squeak off of my brakes because they've got a bit dusty and a bit dirty. So one of the ways I do that is I just like smash them on to try and like burn off the dirt. So I whacked on my back brake and the back end just locked up and just like properly like snaked. Did like one of those snake wibbly wobblies. Whereas the front brake, it didn't wibbly wobbly at all. And stopped much quicker because the back one just locked up. But anyway, yeah, check out Sheldon Brown's article on braking. For me, it's a no thanks because it will only send you over the handlebars if you just mindlessly go oosh, which you shouldn't be doing.
No thanks.
Okay. Next one. Basic bike maintenance skills will save your ass one day.
It could be God tier, but it is definitely solid.
It seems solid, doesn't it? And I think what this means is stuff beyond just how to change a puncture. Because obviously, yes, you need to know that as well. But I feel like it's the stuff like, what do you do if your chain snaps?
Well, that happened to you, didn't it? You were out on
yeah.
a gravel ride and your chain snapped. What did you do?
I had a spare link and I had a little tool that cuts off the bad one and puts on the good one.
And how difficult was it?
Oh, it was easy. But I'd practiced it. I learned it, and I don't know what the technical term is, but I cut off the bad one and put on the good one, and then it worked again.
That's it.
Yeah.
It can seem daunting, a lot of things on a bike, but most of it is easier than you think.
Yeah, totally.
And it's worth learning if you have the capacity to.
And I think there's certain things that just benefit you as a cyclist out on the road. Like, for example, understanding how you can cut your chain down and get your bike working again so that you can get home. And it might just be an interim solution to be able to get you home. Something that we learned, if you get a puncture and you run out of tubes, you can use grass and you won't get anywhere at all.
No. We've got at least 500 meters on the grass.
Well,
That's half a kilometer closer to home.
500 meters on the tire on the rim with grass in it, completely compressed.
Protecting the rim.
Yeah.
Snap spoke, I wouldn't know what to do then.
Tape it.
Tape it?
Yeah. Or wind it around another spoke. Keep it out of the way and just keep riding. And your wheel just goes like that a bit.
So I think what you get from understanding some bike maintenance is knowing what is safe to get you home and what isn't. And there are little botches like that you can do that will get you home. Or there'll be scenarios where you might go, oh, actually, this means I definitely shouldn't botch this and get home. I'm phoning a taxi or a loved one to collect me.
Fair.
I think it's probably not quite God tier because most people, if they're going out on something, will go, like if I was going to go on an epic in the Pennines, I would say, Emily, I'm going to be out for 6 hours in the Pennines. Can you make sure your phone's on loud just in case? And that probably covers most scenarios or worst case scenarios.
In the Pennines, which has no signal.
I've got a Garmin
InReach. And you press the SOS and Emily comes.
Yeah. Don't press the SOS.
No.
Mountain rescue.
Yeah. There's a YouTube video on that. What actually happens when you press the SOS on a Garmin device?
Can we do it, please?
No.
The guy did it, but he was legitimately in the situation where he needed it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And what did happen?
You have to watch the video and find out. He got it. People came.
Okay.
So I would put this personally in solid.
Solid snake.
Next one. The right bike for you is the one that makes you ride most.
Yeah. Yeah. Why hasn't this said more? That's a genius piece of advice.
Yeah, I feel like we have said this before.
Yeah. God tier.
Yeah, I think the wording of that works in all scenarios. Because the only because I was thinking, well, what if it doesn't? It fits really badly, and therefore you're uncomfortable. Well, then it wouldn't make you ride the most. So therefore if you're getting off a bike and every single time you're in absolute agony, then you're not going to ride it, and therefore that is factored into this. So yeah, this is a god tier.
Perfect. Next one, glasses go over your helmet straps.
Get in the bin. They go wherever you want them to go.
It's in the bin.
Yeah.
However,
Yes.
I always ride with my glasses over my helmet straps.
Why?
I'm leaving it at that.
Do tell why.
No, there is no reason.
No, there
There
is
is
a
a
reason.
reason.
I do as well. It's because we started cycling at a point where there was a lot of structure and elitism and hideousness in cycling. And there's certain hangover bits of our experience with that. Like, for example, I know you will still want to shave your legs if you went out on like a proper road ride. You probably would because you're just programmed to do it. And I would not shave my legs. I would be on that proper like racy road bike group ride, and I'd be looking down at my legs going, I should have shaved them, because it's just ingrained in us.
With the leg shaving thing, when you let your leg hair get to like long length,
Yep.
then your shorts don't grip, and then your shorts become really short shorts. But
Yes.
you like that. You like that.
I
you
do like
that,
short
and
shorts.
you want short shorts anyway.
I do like short shorts. Yeah. But I have noticed that is actually the
Same
consequences
with
of
leg warmers. You put leg warmers on, and then if you have hairy, fuzzy legs, they come down.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
That does happen. Yeah, you're right. But ultimately, the helmet strap, we both do it still because it's just the way we put a helmet on a pair of glasses.
We're unlearning things slow. It just takes time, okay? It's like
however,
therapy. One day, I might be brave enough to wear short socks.
However, what I will say about helmet over straps is, on the occasion that I stop somewhere and I want to leave my sunglasses on and take my helmet off, the glasses come off with it. So it actually makes more sense to put the glasses straps under, the glass arms under the helmet straps.
Well,
Rather
what if
than
you
over.
want to take it's easier to get the glasses off, isn't it?
But you can always just get the glasses on and off.
Yeah, whatever. I do agree with you that when I had a look into this one, I was like, oh, is that one of those Illuminati rules? And then you look at it and you're like, God, you realise how much, definitely when I came to cycling, I feel like this was meant to be a tongue-in-cheek thing, but it really became quite insidious in cycling culture. And definitely when I came to cycling, like all of these unwritten rules, which then did get written down, became like a thing, and a thing that measured whether you were a proper cyclist or not. And I think we've definitely been indoctrinated by it, haven't we?
It is wild how much that became a Bible rather than a coffee table lols read.
Yeah.
Which is, it was clearly meant to just be jest. When you look at them, it's clearly jest.
Yeah.
Like, so clearly.
People take stuff too seriously.
They do.
So what we're saying, in the bin.
Oh, yeah,
in
absolutely.
the bin. I hate it, even though I do it.
It's more a case of just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Cool. Next one. Want to be fast? Ride with people faster than you.
I guess it works if the difference isn't too big. But riding more is the most important thing.
I think I've done myself a mischief historically by doing this too much. That was my method for getting faster at running and faster for riding bikes, was always go out and play with the bigger boys. And I used to do it all of the time. And as a result of that, I just spent all of the time I was exercising at like way too hard an effort. So I think it is actually a really good tool for getting faster, but you just need to use it as part of, you look at it as that's my like high intensity for the week.
Because the way cycling works, you can sit on a wheel and save a lot of energy. So cycling is a sport which is much more compatible than something like running for people of differing abilities to ride together.
Yeah,
or do it together. So you can go riding with some elite road racers. If you're a third cat, you can probably hang with their speed and you're fine. What you do on top of that is learn how they ride in a bunch.
Yeah.
If they start doing like a through and off or something like that, it's those kind of skills that you learn. Things they do on rides. Oh, they seem to be eating a lot more than the third cats that I ride with. So that kind of thing that rubs off on you.
Yeah.
And there's value there.
A lot of the value I think does come from learning about etiquette, how to be safe. And of course, you're going to get some fitness benefits. But I think the key is to not go, right, well, I will always ride. All of my training and all of my time spent outside will be absolutely burying myself.
I'd say it's between solid and complicated.
I think it is complicated, but it has a place. I want to put it into solid, but I don't want to misrepresent it. And people just think, well, that's what I should be doing. And so as a result of that, I would like us to put in, it's complicated.
Well, hopefully the people that are faster than you are not dicks.
They're going to be though, aren't they? They're definitely going to be.
There's a correlation, yeah. The faster you get, the more of a dick you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's true, sadly. Yeah.
Okay, next one. Getting faster doesn't have to be your goal.
Yes, God tier.
Yeah.
God tier.
God tier.
It's like our chat the other day. What's healthy and there's getting fast and there's getting healthy. Two different things. Mm-hmm. And probably, think about what matters more in the long run.
Cool. Next one. You don't need food on a road ride less than 50 miles.
Oh, bin.
That's mad, but literally I was seeing this.
50 miles can be a lot of hours.
That is wild, isn't it?
Is this an old piece of advice? Do people still believe that? Surely not.
I'm sure there will be some people.
There'll be old school people who are like, eating's cheating. In actual fact. Oh, my stomach's just rumbled. I wonder if the mic picked that up. It's not cheating. It's sensible. In fact, now the fastest guy, like I went for a training camp with Team Ribble, and they are elite team in the UK, or were at the time. This is like 2 or 3 years ago. And I was pleasantly surprised at how organized they were with their eating and like fueling for those rides. Mm-hmm. Obviously, this is a training camp situation, so it's extreme levels of volume, as much as they can possibly do in the kind of 2 weeks they're there. And you got to get your fueling correct. And they measure things by not even calories, because it's kilojoules, because it's like an even finer scale. And they're like really organized with that kind of thing. Professional athletes, mind.
Yeah, for people listening to this, you do not need to do that.
Yeah, you don't need to do that. What the point is that they're fueling really well and they're eating a lot of food, which is completely different to what we were doing years before, where it's kind of like, a couple of gels, couple of bananas, and like hope for the best, underfueled almost all the time. Mm-hmm. And then you get home and then you binge eat, and that's a bad cycle to get into as well. Mm-hmm. Bad cycle.
In theory, if you have sufficient glycogen stores in your body, you don't need food for 60 to 90 minutes. But why take the risk? Just eat food, enjoy it, and don't think that you need like performance nutrition as well. Just eat what you like eating. Take a sandwich.
Oh, I love it. Like my favorite thing is being on a bikepacking trip and literally eating, like looking forward to the next burger.
When we did Spain, do you remember we were getting like baguettes and cheese?
Bocadillo.
And then just sitting on the side of an orange grove, and we were making ourselves little sandwiches. Mm-hmm. That was nice. Mm-hmm.
Okay, next one. Nearly at the end. Indoor miles don't count. I've heard this said before. What's
Indoors,
it mean?
Indoor counts as more.
Oh, definitely
it's
more.
It's so hard. And you can't freewheel. And it's sweaty. And it's boring.
Yeah. But also, don't count for what? Who's counting?
The Strava gods, I think. I really like indoor training because it's so efficient and functional. But like, it definitely is harder. Like 60 minutes on a turbo is worth more than 60 minutes outside in the real world, unless you are just doing a 60-minute climb up a mountain, which is no one.
Coach Ken would say that officially to his coaching clients, that if you're doing the session indoors, you reduce the times by a certain amount. Percentage.
80% less. So it feels
Dream.
like.
I get my stuff done in 10 minutes.
Yeah, get in the bin. Are we putting too much in the bin?
We're putting a lot in the bin, I'll be honest.
Well, this is your fault, Emily, for choosing all these.
Have we ended up with just
bin-like
in the
items?
bin and God tier, and it's complicated?
Okay, final one. Don't take cycling so seriously, it stops being fun.
No thanks.
God tier. It is very true. And there is nothing wrong with taking cycling seriously if you're still having fun.
Yes.
And even if you're not having a bit of fun, if there's a goal or you're being paid or you really, really want to achieve a certain achievement.
I think we should downgrade it to solid.
Why?
Because this implies that some people, that if you take it seriously, it can't be fun. And for some people, it can be fun and
Yes, I
serious.
agree. Yeah. It doesn't always stop being fun. And it balances out the chart for Emily.
Sure, of course.
I guess what I will say to that is, it being fun should be a given.
Yeah.
unless it's functional because it's commuting, and that's a whole different thing.
Can I give an example of someone who takes cycling extremely seriously but still has fun?
Can I guess who it is?
Yeah.
Harry Mack.
Oh,
No, it's a good one.
oh,
It's a good one.
That was a great one.
Yeah.
He's our friend who won the National Hill Climb Championship and lots of other things.
And drinks lots of beers.
Yeah.
I think it does crack him though sometimes.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure
Yeah.
it does. But he always has a vibe.
The person I was going to mention is Phil Guyman, who he has a YouTube channel called Worst Retirement Ever.
Yeah, I like him.
Where he now chases like Strava KOMs and he has personal sponsors. He used to be World Tour bike racer, professional bike racer. And he did not enjoy his time when he was racing at pro level. So all of the stuff that's involved in that. And now he's found a model where he gets to ride his bike every day, but it's not unstructured. He's still doing training because he enjoys it. And from the outside and after chatting with him, he really enjoys what he's doing. I think that's a perfect example.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that is the end. So feel free to tell us in the comments about the best and worst cycling advice you've ever received, or you can email us at wildonespodcast@cademedia.co.uk, and I might put a little list together for listeners' takeover next week.
Jimmy's gone.
Jimmy's gone.
He's gone. All right, it's time for Fluff Up of the Week, and I'm intrigued because I don't know what happened properly. All I knew was that I was at work and then Jimmy was not there, and he's like, Emily messaged me saying, Jimmy's not coming in.
Well, actually, I don't know what happened for some of it either.
Oh, Emily better tell us then.
My memory was that I had a nice little sleep.
And he said this to me after the ordeal. Oh, I had a lovely sleep, and I was there traumatized. Okay, so
What?
So this has been a previous Fluff Up of the Week before that Jimmy had a little wobble when he had to have a pinprick of blood taken out of him. He has problems with giving blood of any type, and you thought you'd figured out a solution, didn't you?
It's very peculiar. I really don't understand why it happens, because I've got tattoos. I don't have an issue with blood. I don't have an issue with needles. I don't have an issue with, like, if I cut my finger open, which I've done plenty of times, I don't have a problem with that. But specifically, if something is put in me to extract blood, my body goes, oh, no, we are shutting you down. So I rebooted yesterday morning.
Yeah, so he got one of these things where it's like a sticky thing that you put on your arm, and you poke a button. I did this. I pressed a button and it starts to run into a little vial, and he was to fill up 2 vials to be sent away to tell him stuff like about how his iron is and how his testosterone is. Just
normal, like, health tests.
Just health tests. So
the device is so good. It's absolutely genius. You don't feel it at all. Like, it's fantastic.
Clearly you did.
Well, no, I didn't. I actually didn't.
So I had him sat down on the sofa doing it, and I thought everything. He started to go a bit sweaty, and he started to breathe a bit heavier. And I said, "Look, listen to your music, breathe normally. We'll get it done." And the first one filled up. I took it out, and I got the second one in, and then he basically.
I was already gone by then.
How big are these vials we talking?
Tiny. No, tiny little things.
No, just little baby thing.
We didn't drain him of all blood then.
And he, quite genuinely, all jokes aside, I thought he was having a fit, and it was quite scary. He tensed up. His hands were like curled and tensed. His feet were curled and tensed. His eyes were wide open. His pupils were massively dilated, but like he wasn't responsive at all. And then that maybe happened for like 10 or 20 seconds. And I was like, oh, he's having a fit. What do I do? And I was like, I think what you meant to do is just say, it's okay, and don't panic, because they can't come out of it. So I was just kind of going, you're okay, it's okay. And I was like cacking myself. And then he made a weird noise, like a snoring noise, closed his eyes, came back out of it. His eyes were normal again. And he went, oh, I've just had a lovely sleep. And I was there like, oh my God, what has just happened? Yeah, it was actually quite traumatic.
Yeah, and then I started to realise the consequences of what just happened, and everything hurts. I basically spent about 3 hours on the floor just in agony, because it resembles a seizure, but it isn't a seizure. There is a name for it. For whatever reason, when I have blood extracted and my body goes into shock.
Did you get 2 vials of stuff?
No, we only did 1. Nah, I only got 1.
So you got to do it again now.
I'll be honest. When I found out we only did 1, I was like, I can't believe you didn't just do the other one when I was not even present.
Oh, terrible.
Maybe they can do it with just 1.
Well, I've sent it off to see what happens. Because on the thing it says, "Oh, if you don't get enough blood, let us know and we'll send you a new thing." Yeah,
No, not doing it.
I'm done.
Sorry.
I'm done with that. It's so frustrating because I'm an absolute geek when it comes to how the body responds to like food and things like that. And I was really looking forward to finally having a solution which meant I could get a regular blood test and monitor my iron levels and vitamin D. Completely and utterly not essential, but it's just the kind of thing that I get a bit of a kick out of it. And I was so confident that this was like the solution. There was a point I was just going to do it on my own because I was just like, I'm going to have no issues with this at all. And then just for no reason, my body goes into shutdown mode. It's so odd. So I think I'm going to get, one of our neighbors is actually a hypnotherapist. So I think I'm going to have a chat with him and see if he can fix me, because there's clearly something. So I was really, really ill when I was about 2 or 3 years old. I apparently died, and I spent a couple of weeks in hospital, and I had lots of weird little like hospital visits over the space of a number of years.
They would have put you in the pet cemetery.
Yeah. So I can only assume that there's something in my brain linked to that, which basically says if blood is extracted, shut down. Because I had, honestly, I was so calm about it. I had no issues with it. It legitimately doesn't hurt. And there's just no reason why I would have had that reaction to it. But I did.
Yep, fluff of the week.
Time for some more unpopular opinions. I'm going to read out some cycling hot takes. We'll debate them and decide if we agree or disagree. Simon says, I don't know, we were playing Simon Says as well. My unpopular opinion is that the best looking road bikes were made 10 years ago, and it's been downhill since then. By 2015, carbon frames and deep section wheels were attainable but still felt special. Rim brakes and mechanical shifting technology had become as functional and pretty as they're ever going to. Bike designers still had the freedom to just make a bike look cool, fast and simple. Paint jobs were one base colour with a few highlights and 3 proper logos on the wheels. He's right there, yeah.
He's done that for us.
Yeah, he has done that for us. Since then, bikes have loaded up with chunky disc brakes, odd-looking seat stays, and seat tubes that are different just for the sake of it. Bars, head tubes, and down tubes are flattened and twisted for the mythical aero gains. Let's not get started on ceramic jockey wheels and sawtooth profile wheels. All topped off with paint fades, ice finishes, and deconstructed logos.
Oh, I like a good paint fade.
Lots of things you are not being forced to buy, Simon. And there's lots of very simple bikes on offer still. No rim brakes though.
There is no issues with things changing if the things that are good that they're changing into. People are always drawn to a period of time that is nostalgic and happy and meaningful to them, which is why I will always have a place for exactly the type of bike he's describing. I will always look at a super clean rim brake road bike that is for a professional athlete that I should not be riding, that I still want and I still want to ride. I don't have one anymore. You've got one just hanging around. And they'll always have a place in my heart. But that doesn't mean I'll be riding them.
Jimmy for president. You're making some great points today, Jimmy.
Yeah. I'll vote for Jimmy.
If I completed podcasting.
I guess we move on.
Yeah, okay.
So that's it. A listener who asked to remain anonymous said their unpopular opinion is cyclists bleat on about how unfairly they are treated by car drivers whilst behaving like a Dickensian villain in their interactions with other members of the public, be they pedestrians, dog walkers, parents with buggies, runners, horse riders, etc. If you're riding on a shared use path, then that granny and her 2 Yorkshire Terriers have much of a right to be there as you do. This person writes very well. She doesn't know, nor should she need to, that you're trying to set a PB. Slow down, let her know you're there, pass wide, and maybe even say good morning. Try to consider that other people exist and can use our road, paths, and tracks. It's possible for us all to get along.
Massively agree with this.
Yeah, 100%.
It's a really good point. Do you know what? I was thinking this exact thing the other day. As we know, I'm now in a hiking group, and one of the
With just your mum?
No, there was another lady there this week. No, there was actually a big group of us. Another lady that I was speaking to who lives near the Derwent Walk, which is an off-road shared use path near us. And she was making the point, before she knew I was a cyclist, was making the point that she walks with her grandson and her dog. and she likes to walk around there, but she finds it hard because there's lots of cyclists around, and she feels like no one slows down, and she feels very unsafe for the dog and the kid. And then I kind of said, oh, well, yeah, I am a cyclist, and I completely agree with it. And I have been out on rides where I have felt that sentiment has not been followed. I would always do it, and I think that we should be. It's a really good point. We want people in cars to treat us with respect, and we should be doing the same for people who are walking.
I'm a massive, massive believer of I ride my bike in a way that I want people to look at cyclists and go, oh yeah, cyclists are not Dickensian villains.
I like saying hello to people as well.
Yep.
I slow down, like if there's dogs
and
people walking them, not dogs on their own. I like saying hello and having a quick chat to people. Although the other day I did get chased by, I didn't realize I was being chased by a dog, and it was a very small sausage dog, and he ended up very far away from his owner. And then I could see the lady was panicking, like a speck in the horizon. I'm there like, I have a dog now. What do I do? And I'm like, go back. And then he ran all the way back. It was good. Good. It's such a story arc for that little dog. Right. He got a workout. He's going to be sleeping when he gets home.
You might want to not put this in, but
you carried a dog back to some people. Do you remember?
Did I pick it up?
Yeah, you picked him up.
Was this the time, and this is the bit that I'm not sure whether you want to put it in, where there was a very rude man on a path, and he said something to us or something rather for no reason. We just went quietly past, and then his dog started chasing us. And it was going for a while, and there was definitely a point where you were like, well, it's his problem. You just took the stance of, well, we'll just see how far the dog wants to go.
That feels, now, I probably wouldn't do that.
I don't think you would.
But it depends how rude the man was. But then, essentially, you're punishing the dog, not the man.
Yeah.
Which is unfair.
It is.
Isn't it? I always think about that. If a dog owner is rude... the dog doesn't deserve to be put in danger or anything.
Dog has to live with that person.
Yeah,
they've been punished
has a hard
enough.
life. He's already got a hard life.
Yeah. At the end of the day, all cyclists represent, whether they want to admit it or not, they represent cyclists. And therefore, if every single cyclist that was out there riding was the most amazing, perfect citizen in the world and stopped and helped old ladies cross the road and... took dogs back that chased after them and picked up the poop off the dogs because their owners didn't do it, then people would go, wow, cyclists are the best people in the world. If only there was more of them.
What we're saying is just be a good person and wish the rest of the world had lots of good people in as well.
Oh, well, peace.
This is vote for Jimmi.
World peace.
Right. Have you got an unpopular cycling opinion? We want to hear it. Send yours to wildonespodcast@cademedia.co.uk and you might feature in a future episode.
And don't forget, you can also send us your questions and comments for Listeners Takeover, like this one from Derek, who says, I recently bought my first gravel bike, a used 2018 Raleigh Willard. One selling point for me on the bike was that it had a 1x11 SRAM Apex drivetrain. One thing about this bike, though, is that it has an oval chainring. I'm not an expert in drivetrains, and I could use some advice. Will the oval chainring help me be faster on the gravel roads I'll be riding in an upcoming race? The route is in a very hilly part of Missouri, and I'm wondering if the oval chainring will make a difference or if I should purchase a normal chainring. Thanks in advance.
Well, it isn't going to make him faster.
Apparently, if the claims are true.
Do they claim to make you faster?
They claim power increases and all sorts of mad stuff.
Really?
Which I think is bullshit. I think it's the biggest benefit, probably placebo.
Oh, have you ridden one?
I used to race them when I, at least two seasons of racing at elite level, I used them. I know Chris Froome has won the Tour de France using them. Bradley Wiggins has won the Tour de France using them. But lots of other people have won the Tour de France with round chain rings. And would they be using them now if they really made a difference? Probably. Maybe there's benefits because it makes your pedal stroke smoother. Maybe there's some biomechanical benefits for people who have issues with round chain rings. Maybe. But I think this is such a marginal gain if there even is one. And it also, with the mad chain rings I was riding, they were asymmetric, so they weren't a smooth oval, they were like gnarly looking.
Oh.
The shifting was so it's a trade-off.
You had a weird rotor group set, which had an oval chainring on it that we actually built up. And I know this because of the eBay store on the bike that is currently for sale. And I remember in the video, it was the first time I'd ever ridden an oval chainring, and I didn't even notice.
Those are so subtle, though, the Q rings. So it's a very, very small difference. It's probably not going to make you faster. That's the answer, right?
So what I'd probably say is ride it, and if it's comfortable, save your money and just keep riding it.
Ride it, and if you're still interested by the time you've worn out your chainring, replace your chainring with a Q ring, and you'll find out if you like it or not.
What does that mean?
Well, you've already worn it out, so you've got to change your chainring by that point anyway.
But,
so you're not losing money.
So put another one on that's more aggressive to find out if you like it. Is that what you said?
No, ride your current one until it's dead.
Yeah. And then what?
Your round chainring.
Oh, no, it comes with an oval.
It came with oval.
So he's saying his bike has arrived oval, and he wants to know if he should change it to a standard.
Oh, he does. Why does that come with an oval chainring?
It's just second-hand bike.
That's why.
Oh, God.
All of the solutions.
Leave it on there.
Yeah, leave it on there. Yeah, it's interesting. It feels like some people are really bought into them. I think in an upcoming Jake Thorpe video, that's one of his recommendations.
He loves it. Yeah. And that's a bike packing setup with a bike that weighs like 50 kilos. And like, maybe is there a difference to the resultant gear? Maybe.
So the reality is the oval chainring thing fits into the same space as like bar tape preference. The reality is it's going to make no difference. But if you are really into a particular bar tape because of how it feels, then that you might have the same impact with an oval chainring. But in the grand scheme of things, whatever bar tape you use is going to still be fine.
It's psychological as well. If you believe that it works,
the bar tape.
No, with the chain. Well, yes, if you believe your bar tape is aero, Jimmy, you go faster.
Then it is.
Then it is.
Sounds like actual claims from manufacturers.
It's probably worth, if he's going to go and do an upcoming race, it's probably worth getting some time in on that bike. Make sure, for whatever reason, it's not causing any problems with joints or knees or whatever.
Which is actually the same advice, regardless of whether it's oval or not.
Totally. If you've got a new bike, you need time. You don't want to be bedding it in on race day.
Exactly. Just ride it, see you get on with it.
Yeah.
And if it feels fine, just leave it. It isn't going to be faster or slower, really.
Can I add one thing? There's a oval chainring made many, many years ago called BioPace from Shimano, which is in like the opposite orientation to how most oval chainrings are now. And it caused lots of knee issues and became discontinued.
Oh, interesting.
So my dad's old bike, which was just in the garage, he hadn't ridden it for ages. I went on a few rides on it, mountain bike, a Specialized Hard Rock. And it had one of those BioPace chain sets on it. And it didn't give me knee pain, but I imagine, like, you haven't got one on there because it's on a SRAM Apex chain set, I assume. But be wary.
You know, when we talk about waxing chains, and there's people who are very, very into that, and I think maybe the oval chainring people could also, I think if you're a convert, you will really see the benefit of it. So I think that there might be some, if you're an oval chainring person and you're watching this on YouTube, write in the comments.
Has it saved your life?
Has it saved your life?
Cycling?
Yes, exactly. Are you 12% faster and 13% more aero? Tell us in the comments. Tell this guy what he should be doing. But I think ultimately, you've tried them. You don't really see.
Oh, but since then, I've retired from trying to be fast on a bike and gone back to, round shifts better.
Yeah.
And replacing them is easier. It's finding them and all of that. It's easier.
Well, I think that is all for this week.
It is.
Thank you to those for listening or watching. Make sure you subscribe so you...
It was going so well.
Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on the next episode. And thank you very much. See you on the next one. Goodbye.
Bye.
Get headshots for pod thumbnails, smiling, laughing, looking at each other. That's our outro jingle.
I think I might have a Hollywood makeover for next week.
Yes. Have you heard about this? I'm going to make over Jimmy.
Looks maxing.
Yeah.
That's what it's called, isn't it?
I'm gonna do a makeover on Jimmy. It's gonna be like, have you ever seen that film, The Princess Diaries?
Is it like when Marge Simpson gets shot in the face with a shotgun that has makeup in?
No. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen that episode, perhaps.
It's one of their best ones.
Just wait until next week. I might leave this in. If you're still here, there's a secret. We're going to make over Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
But so subtly that you won't realise. That's my goal.
Oh, is it going to be subtle?
Well, yeah, you're not going to have like blue eyeshadow on.
Oh,
But we'll just see. We'll just see how it goes.
okay, cool.
And if he's here with a Hessian sack over his face, you know it hasn't gone right. Can you turn these cameras off, please?
Yes.